a while back, I was introduced to this IEM. This is the Pentaconn Sloflo MS001GM. Yeah, that's a mouthful. So I thought I'd borrow it from Star Speaker to have a longer listening impression and share with you my thoughts on how it sounds. So I'm just gonna call it the Sloflo because the name's a bit long and it's a bit of a mouthful. To start off, here is the packaging that comes with it. This is the box. Full-on cardboard recyclable material. Kind of like the Hi-Fi Man experience. If you have an Hi-Fi Man headphone, you will know what I mean. So what is a Sloflo? The Sloflo essentially is a single dynamic driver, 10.2 millimeter dynamic driver IEM. It's from Pentaconn, as I might have mentioned that. And it's called Sloflo because they want to evoke the feeling of having a laid-back listening experience and being chill about it. Do they succeed in doing that? Yes and no. So yes and no, because it does have a bit of a slower attack and things do sound a bit slightly rounded when notes hit, but it's by no means a laid-back IEM. This is energetic, this is dynamic, this is fun. So that's what I mean when I say they didn't succeed in making a slow experience or a relaxed experience. Okay, so let's start with the way it sounds. So this is actually I would say a balanced IEM, but it has got a very, very nice, powerful bass, very strong sub bass, which is also backed up with good mid bass. The performance of it also depends on what your source is. So it is a bit source and tip dependent. So I would try to give it more power if you can. It's not a difficult IEM to drive. According to the specs, the impedance and sensitivity is it's easy enough to drive, but it scales up nicely. So give it power if you can, and also play around with tips to get a better sound. If you go with the stock tips, the silicone tips that are included, you might find it's a bit on the it doesn't do it justice. It also comes with the Korea aluminum tips in it, but it only comes in 2 sizes. So both of those sizes don't fit me at all. I'm a Sarawak, so Sarawak is, if you are aware of, it's famous for huge caves everywhere, and 2 of them are at the side of my head. So yeah, nope, I need large ear tips or sometimes extra large. Okay, confession over. All right, back to what I was talking about in terms of the sound experience. So very nice, punchy, impactful bass, which is, again, like I said, it doesn't go with that slow, relaxing experience. But I love it. It's very, very, very nice. One of the key things that I find in terms of the sound signature is it's very, not sound signature, the sound presentation. It's very coherent. As only I think a lot of single dynamic driver or single driver IEMs can do. The coherence on this is very, very, very nice. When you listen to it and then you put on a multi-driver IEM, it suddenly brings out the difference in terms of how coherence should sound like versus some of the multi-driver ones. So I've compared it with the Yu9 tray, I've compared to Maven 2, I've compared it with the IEL-Z1R. And yeah, when you come from this and you go to those, they sound, something slightly off. So that's how good this is. Okay, I'm jumping over the place, but let's move on to the mids. The mids for this is also nicely presented. It's a little bit forward on the presence region, so female vocals will pop up a little bit more. Male vocals are fine. There is enough warmth in it that bleeds over. I wouldn't say bleed, but there's enough warmth that is carried over from the bass to make the mids nice, and it gives enough body to male vocals. Whereas female vocals have a bit more emphasis and shines a bit more. Clarity, transparency, granularity, details are all nicely presented across the mids, both for male and female vocals, so you don't really miss much on that. So moving on to the treble. The treble for this is, I would say, it is, again, it's not very, the extension is not very, it's not a very extended treble, but it is tuned to be very supportive of the rest of the frequency range. It has enough sparkle, enough shimmer, enough energy, enough body too. It doesn't sound thin or wispy. And there's enough air in there, so everything is just right. It doesn't get sibilant, and it could be more airy, but at the way it is tuned, it sounds natural, and that's essentially also across the board for the whole frequency range. This IEM sounds very, very natural and analog, because as I was saying, the slow attack helps to make things sound less digital, I suppose. Yeah, so it has enough treble presence to not make you miss anything. If you're a treble head, you won't fully love this IEM, but you won't miss anything either. So there's no roll off in the treble. What else is there? Okay, technicalities. Detail, resolution, all that. It's not in your face. It doesn't sound like, it doesn't shout resolution, it doesn't shout the micro details at you, but if you listen for it, you can hear them. So like if there's if a recording, say, of a vocal that has some whisper or trailing edge to it, you can hear it. If you listen for it, it's there. It doesn't cut off and doesn't fade away into, it doesn't fade away very quickly, so you can make out all the details there. So again, very natural, and as I was saying, they're probably going for that relaxed sound, and you get that for this. Soundstage, depth, width, and height are all nicely presented. They are not super wide, but they're wide enough. You never feel that you're missing any kind of space in terms of the way the music is being played. So very good also. Imaging, positioning, instrumental cues are all in the right place. That is also good, so you don't lose anything, and it never sounds unnatural. What else is there? Let's do a comparison. So this is priced at roughly around $400. At this price point, I would say my top preferred IEM is the Yu9 Shred, also at $400, but ever since I heard this, I think this has taken over the throne for that price point. I find that the way it's presented, the way it sounds more natural and coherent, when I listen to this and I do an A/B with the track, it just doesn't sound as, something sounds a bit off, okay? But yeah, that's how good this is. That's how much I like this. This reminds me of the Melody Wings Venus. So if you have seen my video on it and you heard my review, you know what I feel about it. I like that IEM. This is like a more technically capable IEM. It has way better control of the soundstage. My issues with the Venus was that the depth is a bit off, so sound staging can sound slightly unnatural, but this one doesn't. In terms of the way it's presented, like that slightly analog feel, everything that you might like about the Venus is presented here, but better. Now, of course, it's also pretty much more than double the price, but very, very good. I would say if you are looking to upgrade from the Venus, this is something you should consider. Okay, so there's one other IEM that I think I should talk about, but I'm not sure whether I can get hold of the IEM for comparison yet. But if you look at the frequency response graph, this is identical to the Dita Audio Mecha, which is also a single dynamic driver IEM. So if I can get hold of one of those, you will see this video continuing, and I will share my thoughts with you on that. All right. So I've done a comparison of the Sloflo against the Dita Audio Mecha. As I was saying, both of them have very, very similar frequency response graphs. It shows very, very similar, almost identical. But do they sound the same? So they don't actually. And it's very interesting because even though the graph seems to show that bass, mids, treble are all aligned with each other or almost fully aligned, they do not sound that way at all. So the sub bass on the Sloflo is a lot deeper. There's more rumble, and you can feel it in your chest more than you can with the Mecha. Moving on, the mid bass hits harder. There's more punch. There's more slam. It's more energetic in that sense. And also the mids, the vocals are a bit more forward. It pops out at you way more than the Mecha, which seems to be a bit more laid back. Treble wise, also the Sloflo is more extended and there's a bit more energy up top, so it can get slightly spicier than the Mecha. So how did I do the test? Essentially, I used exactly the same thing. So I ran it both on the DX340, the IMSO DX340 in super gain mode. So that gave me about 2.1 watts of power. I both used the Alitech Baroque ear tips, both of them. Okay, so both are identical. Both of them were on their stock cables. So essentially, I kept everything as identical as possible. I also did notice that the Mecha needed 2 steps of volume more to match the Sloflo. To me, I don't know whether that shows that, you know, frequency response, which essentially we know that the graphs are just for us to refer to and not take it as like, you know, hard and fast as in this is what it sounds like. But there seems to be quite a bit of difference there. So one thing I can possibly deduce from this is that maybe the Mecha needs a lot more power to get all that energy to shine through with that set. If you're a Mecha owner, please comment below and let me know what you think. Because otherwise, almost at the same volume levels, everything identical, the Sloflo is actually a more energetic set than the Mecha. And ironically, the Mecha is more laid back, even though the Sloflo is supposed to be a laid back set. So yeah, I'll be interested to hear what you have to say in the comments. All right, now that I'm back, what do I think of this? Well, obviously, I love it very much because, as I was saying, you know, I've heard it before and I thought I'd borrow it again just to get a more extended listen and share my thoughts with you. Definitely a recommended buy if you can find it. I believe it's not available all over the world yet. I think in certain countries, I think it's mainly available in Asia at the moment. I don't know whether you can get in Europe and US. If you can get hold of one, do have a listen to it, especially if you're looking at something in that price range and if you're looking for something that has energy, that has very good bass impact and presentation that drives the music, yet sounds natural and doesn't sound like sibilant or overemphasized in any of the frequency range. I think this is something that you should consider. Thank you for watching.